Viewer discretion advised. This story is presented for educational and entertainment purposes only. Allegations described here stem from ongoing federal proceedings and sworn testimony, but many details remain unverified and subject to court confirmation. Everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Day 10. The gallery is jammed, shoulder to shoulder, phones locked away, reporters half standing in the aisles. The judge hasn't even taken the bench when the murmurs spark one name on a witness list nobody saw coming. Ashton Kutcher. For 2 decades, he's been Hollywood's go-to nice guy. The prankster turned tech guru with a spotless sheen. Now the bailiff swings open a side door and the room lines. Kutcher in a charcoal suit steps through, jaw set, eyes front. Whatever showbiz sparkle he carried to court evaporates under the fluorescence. He isn't here to make anyone laugh. He's here to talk. A rust-colored file hits the prosecutor's desk. It spells out the stakes: racketeering, trafficking, money laundering charges that could lock Sean Diddy Combs away for life, if the jury believes the government's maze of NDAs, shell companies, and late-night footage. But shockwaves don't wait for verdicts. They start the instant Ashton takes the stand and raises his right hand. The oath sounds ordinary. The silence afterward does not know. Preamble, no easing in. The prosecutor slides over a color photo, white linen, velvet ropes, star-packed smiles. Do you recognize this image? Kutcher's voice stays even. Diddy's White Party, July 2009, 1 sentence, and a decade of flawless reputation begins to flicker. Because what he says next shifts the room from curious to electric. There are things I saw, things I ignored. Every reporter leans forward. This isn't gossip. It's a confession forming in real time. And the first admission is only the spark. It gets worse. The story rewinds to mid-2000s Hollywood, where fame, hip-hop, and sitcom money braid into a new kind of fraternity. Kutcher Combs, Danny Masterson, Wilmer Valderrama, 4 faces on every VIP list. 4 names stamped on every velvet invitation. At first, the clique looks harmless. Charity galas after premieres, branded yacht weekends that crank paparazzi flashbulbs to full power. Then the invites change color. Gold embossed, no return address, stamped phones, sealed. NDAs required. Inside that promise of exclusivity lies the price of entry. Silence. Kutcher describes the switch in texture the way you describe a dream that curdles. Parties shrink from hundreds of industry players to 30 handpicked insiders. A staffer meets you at the door, slides your phone into a static-locked pouch, flicks a pen toward a stack of non-disclosures, 28 pages, single-spaced. You sign fast because everyone signs. Cameras vanish from pockets, but hidden lenses bloom from ceiling vents. Staged environments, he calls them, where nothing is accidental and everything is recorded. It felt controlled, he admits. But when the money's that good, controlled starts sounding like normal? Normal melts a little more at every gathering. Blindfolds appear, part of the theme. Someone jokes assuring certain guests to private corridors. Kutcher swears he never grabbed a blindfold, but he saw enough to know curiosity could get you erased. Ask too many questions and the invites disappear, he says. And if the invites dry up, so do half your deals. That unspoken threat threads through the room like barbed wire no one wants to touch. It gets crazier. The prosecutor pivots to finances. Shell companies with beach resort names, Paradise Jet, Silver Palm, Holdings Pipe, millions through nightlife apps, vegan snack startups, and boutique production shingle after shingle. Kutcher admits he co-signed a dozen of them. I thought they were protecting intellectual property, he says. Looking back, maybe they were protecting identities, people, funding parties none of us were supposed to describe. His voice cracks once, but he keeps going, hands wrapped tight on the witness box rail. In 2013, he tries to drift out quietly. New baby on the way, new tech fund to run. 3 promising venture rounds crumble within a week. Phone calls go unanswered. Projects on hold indefinitely. Then a plain manila envelope lands on his doorstep. No sender, no note, just a USB stick. The footage isn't criminal, he says, but it's soul-crushing. A half-lit room, a slurred joke, a moment he never wanted the world to see. Message received: stay close, stay quiet, or watch your clean image go up in smoke. Yet Kutcher keeps nudging the circle's edges. By 2016, he's ghosting invite-only galas, declining yacht weekends, dodging champagne toasts. That's when the whispers turn to growls. You should be careful about what you don't remember, Combs murmurs in his ear at a Beverly Hills fundraiser, one of those lines so soft it freezes the spine. Days later, a second USB appears, worse than the first. A reminder the cameras never blink. Kutcher retreats deeper, flips assets, scrubs old emails, but every delete key feels useless. When the other side owns the raw files, the reason this is happening? Then Danny Masterson unravels. Allegations surface, lawsuits stack, criminal charges drop. Kutcher writes a character letter publicly, a friend's plea. Privately, he says, a desperate gambit to stop the walls from caving in. It backfires. Social media detonates. Fans torch his credibility. Sponsors bail. His child protection nonprofit begs him to resign. The same week, Masterson calls from a burner and hisses, "If I go down, I'm not going alone." You know who signs the checks? That's when Kutcher stops thinking in terms of career and starts thinking in terms of survival. He walks the jury through cleanup crew tactics, hush money wired under consulting fees, plum acting gigs dangled to restless accusers, and finally, the blacklist where party regulars simply stop existing in polite Hollywood conversation. Some people got a sports car. He says some got a Netflix deal, some just vanished. He recounts a 2015 overseas incident. A guest collapses behind mirrored doors. By sunrise, the room is rebuilt, as if the night rewrote its own blueprints. He confesses he never asked where that guest went. He didn't want to know. The prosecutor steers to hard assets. Homeland-Security raids on Combs's Miami and LA homes in 2024, a warehouse of NDAs, drives 2 unregistered firearms, a pill, stash. Kutcher closes his eyes as the list is read. It mirrors rumors he dismissed for years. Money traced from offshore funds into a nightlife app he championed. Jeeps pings showing user phones funneling data straight to a private server farm. "I thought we were disrupting hospitality," he whispers. "Turns out we were mapping leverage. But listen to this." Break. The judge clears the room. When court resumes, Kutcher looks lighter, as if confession has shaved 50 pounds of guilt. But he's not done. He recalls 2017 Combs, hugs him at a charity gala, cameras flash, smiles wide. Then a breath whisper, "Remember, no one forced you to sign." It sounds friendly unless you know the context. The 28-page NDA, the cameras, the blindfolds, the silent corridors. It lands like a knife tip under the rib. From there, the story goes viral without waiting for evidence. Hashtags erupt, hashtag day 10 bombshell, hashtag Kutcher testimony, hashtag Diddy files. Celebrities purge photos with Combs. Publicists activate family emergency statements, PR inboxes, autobounds. Viewers clip shaky hallway footage of Ashton's exit, frame by frame, hunting for clues. Some shout hero, others hiss opportunist. But the temperature doesn't drop. It spreads back in the witness box. Kutcher faces the final set of questions. Did the same people bankrolling exclusive parties bank his ventures? Yes, he answers. Did he know the cash was dirty? I ignored the signs. Does he possess documentation beyond what the feds already have? He pauses. If this court needs anything, meals, ledgers, names, I won't fight it. Silence detonates in the back row. A reporter mouths game over. He steps down. No applause, no boos, just stunned, quiet as he crosses the floor. The prosecutor closes a folder. Combs clenches his jaw. Reporters bolt for the hallway, fingers flying across screens. Outside, trending topics spike faster than cell towers can handle. Inside, a single realization hangs in the fluorescent glare. The celebrity mask that kept Hollywood so comfortable, just cracked hand behind it, sits a machinery nobody's eager to see in daylight, but that wasn't the whole story. Because minutes after Kutcher disappears through a side door, court clerks begin stamping emergency motions. Defense attorneys huddle mid-tile, whisper shouting about chain of custody. Jurors glance around like people waking in a room filled with smoke. And miles away, industry executives schedule late-night Zoom calls. Camera lenses covered with sticky notes just in case. The next morning, social media sleuths notice something. Eerie Combs' Instagram grid drops from 1,244 posts to 837 overnight. Gone are group yacht shots, mansion corridor selfies, any image where a certain sitcom star flashes a peace sign in the background. Other accounts follow suit one by one. Party memories evaporate. To casual fans, it looks like spring cleaning. To everyone else, it looks like evidence control. And what happens next will rattle far more than a courtroom. Because the question echoing through Hollywood cocktail circuits isn't, is Diddy guilty? It's, if Ashton breaks the silence, who's next? Rumor mills churn out A-list shortlist actors with tech funds, directors with hush-hush, real estate plays producers whose charity galas suddenly feel cursed. The cleanup crew once worked in shadows. Now it has nowhere left to hide. And every NDA that once felt like a Kevlar vest looks more like a ticking grenade. Kutcher spends the weekend holed up in a downtown hotel under temporary federal protection. Reporters camp out. Nightlife bloggers livestream empty sidewalks. Conspiracy forums pinball between heroic whistleblower and too late opportunist. But inside, he scribbles letters to investors, to family friends, to anyone who might claim ignorance later. I see it now. Each note begins. All of it. It's the sound of a man trying to outrun a shadow he helped cast. Whether it's redemption or just damage control, only time will tell. By the time court reconvenes for day 11, two other big names reportedly ask for immunity deals. A former Batboy associate files for witness protection. An ex-bodyguard leaks. A list of offshore LLCs and Combs's legal team, once brimming with swagger, files a motion to sever counts, desperately hacking limbs off a sinking ship. The judge sets aside an entire afternoon just to untangle new exhibits, hard drive directories named after star-studded Vegas weekends, bank wires labeled event services, text threads that read like movie scripts nobody wants green. In Los Angeles, a streaming giant pauses development on a docuseries featuring Combs's life. In New York, a hedge fund-backed fashion label quietly bins every billboard with his face on it. The cleaner-than-clean myth of Combs, the mogul, rips like paper in a storm, and the hole it leaves behind exposes wiring the whole industry hoped would stay hidden. So the machines hum, lawyers draft statements, publicists flood inboxes, crisis firms pitch retainer packages worth more than indie film budgets, all to patch a wall that's already blown apart. Yet somewhere in Midtown, a junior reporter rereads Ashton's exact words and spots the part most viewers missed. He never claimed to be the hero. He never said he didn't benefit. He admitted. He took the cash, loved the spotlight, played along until the game dealt more fear than fame. It's a confession wrapped in self-incrimination, and it lands harder than any courtroom allegation because it feels painfully ordinary. The mask of the good guy slips, revealing a truth most fans suspect but rarely hear spoken. In Hollywood, silence is currency, and everybody's in on the exchange rate, which leaves us, the outsiders, glued to headlines holding an uncomfortable choice. Do we crown Kutcher a late-blooming whistleblower, or brand him a polished survivor trying to jump ship before it sinks? Do we believe the testimony at face value, or wonder how many USBs still sit in locked drawers, waiting to remind other stars what they'd rather forget? One thing is certain. The rabbit hole goes deeper than any sick TikTok can explain. And what happens when the next witness steps up? Maybe a forgotten producer? Maybe a model who signed 3 NDAs and finally wants her voice back? Each confession lights another fuse, and nobody can say which boom will rip through next. For the first time in decades, the industry built on bright lights is terrified of daylight. So as day 10 fades into streaming history, remember Kutcher's last line before he left the stand. Silence protected the wrong people. Let it ring. Because whether you think he's brave, calculated, or both, his words shove a mirror in front of anyone who's ever looked the other way on a set. In a boardroom, at a midnight party where phones are locked in velvet bags and truth is the only guest who never gets an invite, the jury will decide Combs' fate. The court will comb through bank wires and blurry footage. But long after the verdict, the real question will still hover over every red carpet and rooftop soiree. How loud are we willing to speak once the music stops? That's the story, and it's only the beginning. Drop your thoughts below, hit subscribe for the next explosive update from inside the courtroom, and remember what's whispered in the dark has a habit of roaring when the lights finally flip on.